Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to kick off Sports Sunday, so sit back and relax while public address announcer Tony Giles introduces the starting lineup.
Now, your starting lineup for Sports Sunday. Starting at anchor, a 5'4" Aries from Centerville, Virginia, and a wannabe Wisconsinite. She's a former cross-country star at James Madison University. Put your hands together for Jen Chapman. Also starting at anchor, a 6-foot Leo from Birmingham, Alabama. He's got a degree in graphic design from ITT Technical Institute. He's a father of 3, B.J. Millican. This is Sports Sunday.
Welcome in, everybody, to a super edition of Sports Sunday. I am B.J. Millican.
And I'm Jen Chapman. It's the story of the day. Let's take a look at Super Bowl 49 highlights between the Patriots and the Seahawks in what's now going to be an instant classic.
Epic.
Tom Brady and the Patriots trying to win their 4th Super Bowl. Russell Wilson and the Hawks trying to win their 2nd in a row. We move ahead to the 4th quarter. Pats down 10. Brady begins to come back. Danny Amendola for the 4-yard score. It's a 3-point game.
Then right back at you, Brady says, hey, I'm here again. Next drive, they're feeling it. Brady hits Julian Edelman for his 4th touchdown pass of the night. New England up 28-24, but hang on. Seattle right back in this game. Watch this catch by Jermaine Kearse. The concentration. Ouch, Seattle in business in the red zone.
And then we give it to Marshawn Lynch right here, right?
Wrong.
Nope. Alabama's Malcolm Butler jumps the slant route, picks Wilson's pass off. Patriots win the game and the Super Bowl. 28. Yes, we're all just as shocked as you, Sherman. Everybody is shocked on that play call. And, of course, Tom Brady was the MVP. Here's the man who clinched the game, Malcolm Butler.
Preparation. We studied film, and I knew when the stack receivers came out, I knew one was coming up, the other was coming over. It was clutch time. I knew we needed it, so I just went on and made the play.
And he played for Division II West Alabama, so exciting right there.
That was exciting, super exciting. We'll have much more coming up throughout the next couple of days on that, I'm sure. But what was really exciting today, Alabama's women's basketball team was hoping to have a little fun and get in on that excitement.
Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, they hosted the Arkansas Razorbacks at Foster today. Alabama 1-7 in the SEC. The first half, Hannah Cook looking for Carla Middlebrook, who gets the first basket of the game for the Tide. They were down 4-2 at that point. The Razorbacks looking for their 3rd SEC win. Second half, Alabama's Maya Shanti Knight to Carla Middlebrook. She buries the 3-pointer right there, and she led the Tide with 11 points. Riley Norris, Levi Randolph, and Ricky Tarrant in attendance supporting the ladies, but Arkansas was too much. Kelsey Brooks hits the tough shot and gets the foul. Arkansas goes on to win the game 53-42.
All the credit today goes to Arkansas. I thought they did a really good job of controlling tempo from the tip. I think one of the glaring weaknesses on our team, you can't coach experience, and we look extremely inexperienced. I thought that Bowen and Berna really stepped up on the road today and did some great things for their team. And maybe in time we will continue to grow and learn and hopefully look up a couple years down the road and be as improved as those 2 players are for the University of Arkansas.
Record only SEC win this season was against Auburn 2 weeks ago. They've lost 8 of their last 9 games.
Tough stretch for them. The Auburn Tigers, a tough thing today, dismissed Hasina Muhammad from the team today. You may remember her as the Auburn player ejected from the Bama game a couple of weeks ago. The dismissal was because of a violation of team rules, not related to that ugly incident. Good news for former Bama hoop star JaMychal Green. Just days after the Spurs released him, Green was picked up today by the Memphis Grizzlies. He signs another 10-day contract with the second-place Grizz, who released Tyrus Thomas to make room for him. Now, Jen, here's a bizarre NFL story. The Atlanta Falcons are under investigation for allegedly pumping in artificial crowd noise into the Georgia Dome during home games. I'm not sure, though, if that's working because the Birds are 14-11 at home since 2012. Now, if that allegation is true, they could be fined and lose draft picks.
And it didn't even work.
It's ridiculous. We'd never do anything like that.
I think we could bring in a live studio audience and get some fake laughter in here. Oh, or clapping. Great job. All right, well, when we come back, we'll talk Alabama basketball with our special Sunday chat guest, Drew Champlin from the Alabama Media Group, will join us to break down Tide hoops and talk a little National Signing Day as we're just 3 days away. Wow, 3 days. 1, 2, 3. Sports Sunday will be right back after this.
We're back on Sports Sunday. Alabama's men's hoops team had a monumental task on Saturday, try and knock off the top-ranked Kentucky Wildcats at home. Well, they fell short. Bama lost its second game in a row, 70-55. Here's a look at what's coming up for Bama. The road not much easier. A home game coming up against Missouri before going back on the road to LSU and Mississippi State. And let's talk about that Crimson Tide hoops team a little bit. To do that, we welcome in Drew Champlin from the Alabama Media Group.
Drew, where do you see this Bama hoops team right now as they near the home stretch in the SEC?
Well, they're really struggling, especially offensively, and they've got some guys that are hurt or playing through injuries. Ricky Terrence set out yesterday. Don't know if that would have made too big of a difference. Michael Kessens, I wonder how full strength he is, because he's had, it kind of had little minor injury issues since he's been at Alabama. But he's playing through it. They're just they got past the really tough part of their schedule at 3 and 5, and if you look at the rest, it's not nearly as daunting, but there's going to be a lot of 50-50 games Alabama needs to win if it wants to salvage its season.
And Drew, we hear the cries for Coach Anthony Grant's job. Is it NCAA tournament or bust for the coach if he wants to save his job?
If this team wins 20 or 21 games, and that's possible, I think they're at 13 right now, even if you factor in the SEC tournament, I don't know that he has a whole lot of support among the fan base. That's just from reasons, but message boards don't tell the whole story, obviously. But, it's going to be hard to fire a guy who goes 21 and 12 or something like that. If that's the case, if they really, really struggle down the stretch, it'd be a lot easier. But, I don't know if NCAA tournament or bust is the word, but, they need to make some big improvements, I think, or just play a whole lot better in February and March.
All right, Drew, let's switch gears for a minute and talk some football. We're only 3 days out from National Signing Day. Alabama has their class nearly locked up. Are there any surprises coming for the Tide on Wednesday?
I think for the most part, there probably is going to be not as much drama this year as there have been in years past. Like last year, they were able to get Rashaan Evans on signing day, and he's going to be a big impact player. I think there's probably 2 or 3 spots left. I think one of them is probably going to be filled by Dalen Charlotte, the receiver out of Louisiana, who was committed to Alabama for a while and was down to Alabama and LSU. And, they could add another receiver. KJ Hill out of Arkansas is down to Alabama and Ohio State. And I think he'll pick one of those two. And, if they can get C.C. Jefferson, who I think there's 5 schools that feel pretty good about him, or they're still optimistic about him. He's the 5-star defensive end from Glen St. Mary, Florida, who went to LSU this weekend. He's also got Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, and Florida in the mix. So, there's a few other names. I think if there was really any surprises, it would be if either of their 2 5-star cornerbacks with Minka Fitzpatrick or Kendall Sheffield flipped to in Minka's case, probably Florida State, or Sheffield's case, Texas A&M. Those would be some major downer surprises. But, I think that both of those guys will sign with Alabama, but, it's never over till it's over.
And before we let you go, are there a couple of players that you see as instant impact kids for the Tide coming in as true freshmen next season?
I think probably the most logical choice at this point is Calvin Ridley, the big 5-star receiver from down in South Florida. He's very similar to Amari Cooper. And Alabama's got some receivers coming back. None of them are as good, obviously, as Cooper was, but Ridley is that kind of playmaker. So he's a guy that I can sit here and think that guy's going to play. And then if you look defensively, I would think one of the 2 safeties, maybe both, that are already enrolled with Deontay Thompson and Ronnie Harrison. I think those 2 guys are at least going to be special teams guys. And, Alabama lost its top 3 safeties last year. So, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those 2 guys are getting some snaps in the secondary at some position. I think Adonis Thomas is a linebacker that can fill a void in the middle, maybe not as a starter, but as a backup and a special teams guy. And, I think the big nose tackle they signed, Jonathan Taylor, he had his problems at Georgia. He had a couple of arrests and was kicked out of there. Still some issues pending there, but it seems like he's trying to make things right for himself. And if he stays on the right path, I think he'll fill the void at nose that Brandon Ivory left and make an impact.
There you go. Drew Champlin from the Alabama Media Group. Thanks, Drew, for joining us. Now, don't forget, WVUA has you covered on signing day. An hour and a half of coverage beginning at 3:30 on Wednesday. We're looking forward to that.
And I'm looking forward to what's next because it's our favorite things after the break. And this one is actually a really good one. They're always good, but this is really good. This is just awesome. So we hope you come back for our favorite things after this. The number one tennis player in the world, showing why he is the best. Novak Djokovic won his 5th Australian Open today, beating Andy Murray in 4 sets. He's 5 for 5 at the Australian Open and now has more Aussie Open titles than Roger Federer and Andre Agassi. This is also Djokovic's 8th career Grand Slam. One of the best.
As I said last night, he had a
good day.
How
do you say it?
A good day.
Good day.
A good day.
All right, you go.
I'll go. That's my name. It's become a favorite part of Sports Sunday. It is our favorite things.
That's right. And this week, a real feel-good story from a guy people around here are used to booing.
Don't boo him.
Former Auburn wide receiver Sammy Coates is just a good guy. He will be donating a portion of his Under Armour endorsement to his high school, Leroy High. Coates also just won the Rare Disease Champion Award for his work with leukemia patient Kenzie Ray. So regardless of who you cheer for, you got to cheer for this guy. At our level, he is one to focus on.
He is one of our favorite things this week, and anybody who does stuff like that, got to pat him on the back.
Top notch.
And absolutely great guy. That's all the time we have for tonight's show, but we are going to leave you with a little more video. Roll that puppy video. The Puppy Bowl was tonight as well, complete with Kitty Furry as the halftime guest.
They're just so cute.
Good night, everybody. Have a good week. Kitty Furry right there.